All right, welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into a story that, well, you probably think you know it inside and out. But what if I told you there's a whole hidden layer of meaning woven right into its very fabric?
I mean, we all love the epic scale, right? The hobbits, the elves, the huge battles for Middle-earth. It's just incredible. But have you ever stopped and thought, what is this really all about? Beyond the adventure, I mean. What if the greatest fantasy story ever told is actually about something much, much deeper?
So, the key to unlocking all of this, it actually lies with the man himself, J.R.R. Tolkien. See, he was a devout Catholic, and his faith wasn't just some small part of his life. No, it was more like the invisible ink he used to write his masterpiece. So, let's take a look at how his beliefs basically shaped the entire soul of Middle-earth. Okay, so where do we even begin? Well, there's really only one place to start, isn't there? With the most famous, most iconic object in the whole series. It's small, it's golden, and it literally carries the weight of the world on it. You know what I'm talking about. The One Ring. So here's the thing. The ring, it's not just a cool magic item. It's so much more. It's basically a perfect metaphor for sin. And when you look at it that way, the parallels are just, wow, they're striking. Think about it. The ring whispers all these amazing promises in your ear, right? Power, a super long life, the chance to rule over everyone. But what's its real game? Its true nature is to deceive you, to corrupt you from the inside out, and in the end, to totally enslave you. And this whole idea, this seductive promise, it lines up almost perfectly with the biblical description of the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden. You know, the one that was desirable for gaining wisdom. In both cases, you have this thing that promises something that seems amazing, something good. But in both cases, it leads to a total fall from grace. It is the classic textbook definition of temptation.
And this leads to a really crucial point. The ring's power is just, it's corrupting, period. You cannot use it for good. There's no way. I mean, think about the most powerful, the wisest, the best characters. Gandalf, Galadriel. What do they do when offered the ring? They literally shrink away from it in fear. Why? Because they know. They know that no matter how good their intentions are, that temptation would twist them and turn them into the very evil they're trying to fight. It just goes to show this kind of power is a threat to absolutely everyone.
Okay, so if the ring is this perfect symbol for sin, how does that change how we see the characters who have to carry it, that immense, crushing burden? Well, if the ring is sin, then the quest to destroy it suddenly becomes way more than just a mission, right? It's more like a holy pilgrimage.
And Frodo's journey, wow, it's this incredibly powerful echo of Christ's journey to the cross. He volunteers, he chooses to take on the burden of the ring, which is basically the concentrated evil of his entire world, and carry it all the way to its destruction. It's a lot like Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane, you know? It's a mission he accepts, but with so much reluctance and at such a huge personal cost. He knows it's going to scar him forever, and heck, it might even destroy him completely.
But here's the beautiful part. Frodo doesn't have to walk that path alone. Because while Frodo is the ring bearer, you gotta admit, Samwise Gamgee often feels like the real hero of the story, doesn't he? He's not a Christ figure, not at all. He's something else. He's the perfect model of the faithful, loyal disciple. It's his simple, unwavering loyalty and love for his friend, these humble virtues that pull Frodo back from the brink of despair again and again. You know, in Tolkien's world, that kind of devotion is basically a superpower. Let's be real. Without Sam, the quest would have been a total failure. No question.
Now, this whole theme of sacrifice and being reborn, it's not just for the hobbits. Oh no, Gandalf's story arc is one of the most unforgettable parts of the entire saga, and man, is it a powerful allegory for one of the absolute core tenets of Christianity.
You remember the scene, right? Gandalf the Grey stands on the bridge and confronts the Balrog, this ancient demon. He sacrifices himself, "You shall not pass," and falls into the darkness to save the Fellowship. But that's not the end of his story, not even close. He's sent back, literally reborn as Gandalf the White. He's more powerful, he's radiant, and he has this totally renewed sense of purpose. It doesn't get much clearer than that, folks. It's a story of death and resurrection, plain and simple.
Okay, this next one. This brings us to maybe the most tragic and honestly one of the most important characters in the whole story, Gollum. And with him comes this really deep, kind of surprising theme, the incredible power of pity. And you have to ask the question, right? Why? Why was this creature kept alive? I mean, Gollum is treacherous. He's a murderer. He is completely consumed by the ring.
Both Bilbo and Frodo had the chance to end him, and honestly, by any kind of normal logic, they probably should have. So, why didn't they? Why was his life spared? The answer? Well, it reveals this kind of hidden hand of a higher power working behind the scenes.
The big idea at play here has a name. It's called providence. And what it is really is the belief that there's some kind of unseen divine wisdom guiding everything that happens in the world. It suggests that even our individual choices, and yeah, even really evil actions, can somehow be used to bring about a greater good. A good that nobody could have possibly seen coming.
And this is where it all pays off, beautifully. That decision by Bilbo and later Frodo to show Gollum pity, an act that looked like pure weakness to everyone else, turned out to be one of the single most important moments in the entire quest. Because they kept him alive, he was there, right at the end, at the cracks of doom. And in this moment of just perfect, supreme irony, it's his own bottomless greed that finally destroys the ring forever. He accomplishes the one thing that even Frodo at the very end couldn't do.
So, this idea of a hidden purpose, of a greater good coming from unexpected places, it doesn't stop there. It also applies perfectly to the whole theme of kingship. I mean, the third book is literally called The Return of the King, and Aragorn's entire journey is this epic story of hope, of restoration, and finally, the return of justice.
Think about Aragorn. He's the true heir to the throne of Gondor, the greatest kingdom of men. But what does he do? He spends decades out in the wilderness, living as a humble ranger. He earns his crown not by conquering armies, but by serving and protecting people who have no idea who he even is. And this whole story arc runs parallel to the belief in a Messiah, who first appears as a humble servant, but who is destined to return one day in all his glory as a victorious king. So, when you pull all these different threads together, you start to see it, right? The Lord of the Rings is it's saturated with these deep core values. It's constantly telling us that true strength doesn't come from some all-powerful magic ring, but from sacrifice, from love, and from loyalty. It shows us that the great events of history aren't just shaped by kings and mighty warriors, but by the incredible courage of the small and the humble. And maybe most importantly, that even when you're in the deepest, darkest place imaginable, there's always a reason for hope.
Now, Tolkien himself always said his work wasn't meant to be a simple one-to-one allegory. And he was right. But by weaving these profound themes from his own faith into the very fabric of Middle-earth, he did something incredible. He created more than just a fantasy adventure. He created a true myth for our time, a story that gets at the deepest truths of what it means to be human, our struggles with temptation, the power of sacrifice, and that ultimate desperate hope for redemption.